Hello and welcome to the video recording of the Seesaw for Music and e-learning webinar. On the screen you will see timestamps for when each topic is covered. Please utilize this to your advantage in finding the concepts that you want to learn more about. I would also invite you to use the gear icon in the lower right corner to increase the playback speed of the video, as the level of detail desired from the registration questionnaire resulted in a lengthy webinar session. In the description box of the video, you will see a link to the presentation slides and a public Google spreadsheet where you can contribute or look up any new music activities created during this time. Please know that I'm not a professional blogger in any sense or someone who knows the best ways to use this platform. I'm just a music teacher who wanted to help out her fellow educators. I hope you're able to find at least one thing in this webinar worth your while. Stay safe, be well, and I wish you lots of luck on your e-learning journey. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to e-learning for Seesaw and music. My name is Katie Nuff, and I want to thank you all so much for being here today. Welcome. I was so surprised by the response I received from this just throwing out this help session, and I'm so glad that so many of you will be here to join us today. One moment, I seem to have lost my actual presentation. That goes into the first thing I was going to say, and that I am not a professional blogger. I am not a YouTube music teacher. I just am a member of the Seesaw for Music Teachers before this all happened, and I just saw the need and the want for people who are brand new to this experience to need help with it. So give me just 1 second here. I was learning how to I was all excited with my fancy countdown, and now it just got rid of my document. So if you, I do have my coworker and very good friend Brianna here, who is helping me facilitate this with the chat and letting people into the waiting room. So if you have any simple questions as we're going, feel free to use the chat as a way to ask those questions, and we are going to have times to go through questions as well. This is based on the questions I received with the registration. It seemed like a lot of people just needed a tutorial and somebody to take them through the basics of Seesaw, and so I kind of altered what I originally planned on doing. And so we will be going through a lot of the basics and what Seesaw is and how to use it. And then we will be doing some live question answer and demonstrations as well. So if you had friends who were wanting to get into the live stream or the time doesn't work out for them, I am recording this live stream, just so you know, so it will be shared out tomorrow as soon as I'm able to put everything together along with the slides. And Brianna, if you wouldn't mind putting the slides in the chat for everyone to see, that would be awesome. So we will go ahead and get started here. And if we'll share here. Alrighty, so I do see my good friend and other coworker Lisa here. Lisa, can you give me, and Brianna, can you give me a thumbs up to make sure the slides are sharing okay, and just the slides? Okay, great. So welcome to Seesaw for Learning, this Zoom webinar. As I said before, hopefully I said before, my name is Katie Nuff, and I oh, there we go. My computer's being a little slow. Sorry, again, not a professional here. I teach in Orland Park, Illinois, which is a southwest suburb. I teach 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade general music along with 4th and 5th grade choirs. And Oh, come on, computer. And I am a Seesaw ambassador. So I went through the designated Seesaw training to know the ins and outs of Seesaw and the extra fine details, along with I am an Apple Vanguard certified teacher. So that is a specific training that districts can be offered through the Apple Corporation in order to know how to better use their devices. And as I said, my amazing coworker and mentor, friend, human, Brianna is going to be here helping us as well. Oh no, this is what I get for trying new things. So she will be helping us. As I said at the beginning, the goal is for the session is just to provide you some encouragement, resources, and tips for how to make Seesaw work best for you during this very unprecedented time. As I said before, I was not a millennial blogger. I'm just a millennial with lots of time on her hands and who feels very comfortable with technology and wants to help everyone who is thrown into e-learning. So our plan for today is to just go through the basics about Seesaw. We're going to talk a little bit about what remote learning means for me and my philosophy and take on everything. We're going to go through the helpful settings, what's going to be best for setting up your account, and also just the basics for how to use the platform, and then how to use the platform for music specifically. And then we will also be doing live demonstrations of everything as well. And I'll be doing those throughout the first couple. And then at the end, if anyone has any questions and something they would like demonstrated, I can definitely model that for you as well. So let's get started with our e-learning philosophy. As I said, e-learning is something that nobody has really had practice with. Maybe if your district was very ahead of the curve, you've done that for snow days already, or any, weather-related school closures, but this long-term thing, none of us could have prepared or been ready for. I found this quote on Twitter the other day, and I thought it was very helpful, and it just says this is a woman who is a professor out in the East Coast, and she says, friendly Monday morning reminder to all those who are teaching this week that what we are not doing is online teaching. It's emergency remote teaching in a pandemic. Showing you care is more important than delivering a perfect video lecture. Hang in there. And I think that is just very important and very essential to remember at this point in time. We are not doing our normal everyday thing. This is not normal, and that's okay. I'd like you all to just take a moment wherever you're at, maybe follow the breathing GIF. Hopefully it's working for you. Just take a breath. And remember that this isn't the new normal. I understand a lot of people are using that phrase, but that doesn't jive well with me. I've definitely been thinking of it more as a unique chapter. So it's okay to mourn everything you've lost. It's okay to mourn the concerts and the performances and the not seeing your kids, depending on where you're at in the country or in the world. If your school has been fully canceled for the rest of the year, you're fully remote learning. It's okay to be angry that you're not going to see your kids. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be worried about them. It's also okay to do less during this time. It's okay to simplify everything. It's okay to do the bare minimum if that's all you can do. It's okay to send YouTube videos to your kids to have them watch. It's okay to plan elaborate Zoom lessons if that's what you want to do. It's okay to go down the path of virtual choir, and it's okay, or band or orchestra, and it's okay to make really super elaborate lessons so you feel like you're still teaching, you're still giving your all to kids. It's okay to do whatever you need to get yourself through this time. So if nobody has said that to you yet, there's your permission. That's your permission to do whatever is going to work best for you, because during this time, you need to put yourself first so you can be there emotionally to support your students and be there for your students in the way you best can. So My approach to successful music lessons on Seesaw kind of boil down to three things. The first is to make sure that they are simple, focused tasks, just worrying about one thing at a time. The next thing is that you want to make sure you're matching your students' tech ability levels. So knowing where your individual students are coming from with their technology, how comfortable your students are with technology, how much they have it integrated into their daily school atmosphere, is going to be key for making your music lessons successful with Seesaw. And the third thing for this remote learning is making sure that it is easy for the teacher to respond to, that it is easy for the students to be able to get into, that it is easy for you as the teacher to respond to your students quickly, because we all know we don't teach 24, 30 students. We teach hundreds of students throughout the week. So making sure it's easy for you to give feedback and respond to your kids and say I'm still there is important. You want to make sure that you're not becoming the new IT person. A teacher who has one-to-one devices like myself is going to have a very different lesson than someone whose kids are being thrown into the first time and whose students had an iPad dropped off at their house and are just being expected to use it. It's really important to remember that as badly as you may be wanting to recreate the exact same environment and the exact same class routine that you had during your classroom, that's just not going to happen right now. That's just not the case. We're all exploring this new territory together. So, what should our goal be during this time? My approach has been, and what I'm driving this session through, is that our goal during this time should be to engage our kids in a way that's easy and effective. Okay, so just engaging them and keeping them making music, along with making sure that whatever we do will not cause an excessive amount of extra work for yourself or your students. And I'm sure a lot of you are being told different things right now. I'm sure a lot of you are being told to make sure every kid's engaged and make sure that everyone's being accounted for. But that's just not realistic from a specials point of view. You want to make sure that you are keeping your kids making music, and you want to make sure that you are helping your kids in a way that will also not make your life any more during this time. Because organically, we are going to be having more and different work, but we want to make sure we're not taking on too much. So in the state of Illinois, where I am, it is recommended that grades 3rd through 5th have about 3 hours of schoolwork per day, including breaks. So this is not your normal 30 minutes twice a week music lesson. It's functionally going to be very different. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some helpful Seesaw settings. A really quick disclaimer, I saw in a lot of the questions that were filled out in the registration ahead of time that how do I use this with Google Classroom? How do I use this with other platforms? And my answer to that is that you need to use the learning platform that will work best for your students and your learning community. If everybody in your school is using Google Classroom or using Schoology or using Canvas or using some other sort of platform, then you should be using that. You need to make it simple for your students, and if you're trying to get them to learn a new platform, if you're trying to get them to learn Seesaw on top of doing their music lesson, it's going to cause a lot of frustration and lack of engagement from your students. So again, if our goal is to engage them and keep them making music, you want to make sure everything is as simple for them as possible. Seesaw is an absolutely amazing, powerful tool to use, but if everyone in your school is using Google Classroom, then just use Google Classroom. And if you need to leave this meeting then because you realize this isn't for you, that is totally fine, and I will not be offended. But hopefully there will be something here that you can gain some insight from. So we're going to go ahead, and I would like to encourage you to explore together as we're going through these settings. So take a moment, either in another window or in using another device would probably be preferred. Go ahead and open up Seesaw, because we're going to go through what your settings should be, or my suggestions of what your settings should be, and how to best set up everything. So this is, my goal for this is to make sure it is very interactive and hands-on. If you're not comfortable with that, if you are concerned that you're going to lose the session overall, don't worry, Brianna will let you back in. But you can also just watch this back later, as long as all of this is hopefully recording, and go through the steps then. So I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and pull up Seesaw. And as you're doing that, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what my tech background is. So for my students in my district and my school, our students are one-to-one with iPads. And in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, they take their iPads home every single day. I believe for the younger grades, we are in grade level center, so I have a different building for K1-2, and I do not teach K1-2. I believe they take their 2nd grade might take them home every day, or it's on designated days, but they all went home with the students for remote learning. My district has a Seesaw for Schools account. And basically what that means is that my district has paid for extra settings and extra tools within the Seesaw platform. This is a very important thing, is that my classroom teachers all utilize Seesaw within my school. And that's pretty common throughout my district as well. So I really have the advantage that all of my classroom teachers regularly use Seesaw, and therefore when I give my students a direction in my classroom during non-quarantine time, they know the steps and they know the directions and how to use the platform. I'm very lucky. I don't spend a lot of time teaching my students what the green plus is and make sure you press the green check and everything like that. And my district also, we utilize the Google Suite. So all of my students have a Gmail account, and they have their own Google Drive with their Google Docs and their Google Slides and everything like that. So I fully acknowledge that I'm coming from a very privileged place when it comes to learning, when it comes to technology. And I have a lot of access with my students and with my district. And I'm very grateful to them for investing in these 21st century resources. For us, when all of this started to happen, we were all very worried and concerned as teachers, but in regards to the learning, there was not this like huge paradigm shift for us. And I realize now, going through the Seesaw for Music Teachers Facebook page and the Music Educators Online Facebook page, that is very much a place of privilege. So if I am at any point talking about things that are, second nature to me, please do mention it to Brianna if you need a more in-depth explanation, and she will either help you out in the comments, or at one of our pauses, we will go ahead and work on that. But I did do my best as I was creating this to make sure that we were touching on going through the fine details for everything. So hopefully at this point you have Seesaw open for you, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So anything in my titles that is highlighted in gray, it means that I had many questions about that topic in the registration form. So a lot of questions I had was setting up your classroom, being a co-teacher or not being a co-teacher. And there are different advantages to both. So it really depends for this on what your situation is. If your school was already using Seesaw and it was already set up for you, and you just didn't use Seesaw that much in your music classroom, but you have your own journal, I would highly, 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 highly recommend sticking with that. If your students already have your own journal and already have that set up. That is what I have. That is what I've always had. Again, coming from a place of privilege, ever since I started at my school, my students had their own separate music Seesaw class journal. So if that is already set up for you and your students know how to get there, that is what I would stay with. If you and your students are being thrown into this for the very first time, I would say it's going to depend on your kids and it's going to depend on what your district is doing. I would suggest then, especially for littles, for kindergarten, first, second, maybe third grade, you know your kids best, I would suggest then being a co-teacher. For me, I'm a very type A personality. You are going to see the assignments from the classroom teacher and from PE and from, you know, arts. You are going to see a lot. You're going to get a lot of notifications and you're never going to be able to get rid of them all. But I would suggest doing that because it's easiest for the students. Again, our goal is engaging our students and keeping them making music. So it's easiest for the littles and for the parents who are being thrown into this for the first time that you keep everything in one spot. And the best way to make it cohesive then is to make sure you're using the folders feature and turning that on in your settings. Also making sure you can create assignment tabs. That is very important as well. In your own music assignments and labeling them music is what I would suggest for that. So that is my take on that. Again, I am coming from a place of privilege because my kids already were utilizing their own music Seesaw journals since the beginning of this school year. So that is my take on, is it better to co-teach or is it better to have your own journal? Basically, whatever will get your kids making music and engaging with you best is what I would suggest. And again, making it less work for yourself, doing a separate journal will be less work for yourself. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about our settings then. So your settings for Seesaw for each class are located in the wrench. And you can see that image on the bottom. For co-teachers, right on the screen there is how you can manage folders and set up the folders. You do want to make sure that the show add to folder step is turned on for teachers and for students. It does, and that is a setting you need to turn on. If you have your own class journal, making sure you organize them is what will be best for you, making less work for you. So making sure you title them 3 Music Lopez. That's an example from my building. So I always put the grade level first, and then I put music so the students know, oh, here's my music one, and then the classroom teacher's name. And I keep that format every year so my students know when they go from 3rd to 4th grade, oh, now I'm for Music O'Hara instead, and keeping it that way. Changing the colors of your class is a really great way to help keep yourself organized as well. So I, as I said, am very type A, and so I put the I follow the game plan colors, that curriculum. So all of my 3rd grade is green, all of my 4th grade is blue, and all of my 5th grade is red. And then I have separate colors for my choir classes as well. So doing both of those things can really help you stay organized. And again, if you're a co-teacher, making everything say this is the music folder and titling each of your activities with music at the beginning would be my suggestion for that. More settings that are helpful, making sure that you have the, sorry, I'm trying to see my screen fuller, making sure that the students can see each other work. That depends on what you want to do. So making, if all of if you are a co-teacher, that's something you're going to have to check in with for the class, what the classroom teacher is desiring. If you are using this for more assessments and students are maybe playing their recorders for each other and or playing their recorders for you, but you don't know but you don't want them to be able to see someone else's work, maybe there's a bullying issue, or just to make them feel more comfortable that only them and you and their parents can see everything, then I would keep it turned off. So right now on the screen, it's showing as green, and so it is turned on. So with this class setting, students can see each other's work. It depends, but I overall for this would suggest turning that setting off. New items require approval. You want to keep that on. That is the default. That way you will know when a student has submitted work, because you have to approve their work to be posted to the journal. Enable item editing, I would turn that on. That's a bit more of an advanced skill. We're not going to talk about that too much today, but we will be working on, but that is an option for students to go in and save their work and then work on it later. And enable sample student, I would keep that on. That allows you to test things and try things out as a student from the student point of view. So you don't have to, make up a pretend student. That's already there for you. Students' likes and comments. If your class is set to private, as in students cannot see each other's work, you could go ahead and keep the likes turned on. Students like liking things. Most of our good students, our favorite students, like learning. So they want to show you that. They like being able to press the heart. However, it means you have a lot of extra notifications. So that depends on where your personal sanity is at that moment. Again, if you're a co-teacher, that's something you need to discuss with the person you're co-teaching with, and probably leave that up to the classroom teacher's discrepancy. Enable student comments, I would definitely keep that on. That will allow the students to write you a note saying, hey, this part of the activity didn't work, but I did my best, or let them post you a little note that says, I miss you, like I hope we're back in school soon. And again, the new items require approval. Keeping that on allows you to make sure that you are seeing everything. I'm gonna go ahead and Brianna, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Are there any questions we have so far from the chat?
We just had a few things. I've been able to answer a lot of them in the chat, but do you know if Seesaw can be integrated with Class Dojo? That was one I didn't know.
Okay, well, I do not and have never used Class Dojo, so.
Yeah, and I use it just for a point system for behavior. Right. I don't use the portfolios or anything like that with Class Dojo. I tried to do a quick search on Seesaw's help page and I didn't see anything. So unfortunately, I think our answer to that one is we don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, our answer to that one would be defer to Google. I have the chat open here and it says, Seesaw but the class are separate. Do I have a music folder in each of those classes? Will I need to sign in to those classes individually? Again, this is something I meant to say at the beginning, and it does look like Brianna asked you to elaborate, but in regards to how your students are entered into Seesaw, that's going to depend on what your district and what your school has set up for you. At the end of the slides, I have listed the YouTube tutorials from the Seesaw website that show you the different how-tos for home codes and for student login and everything like that. I would say if each class is separate, you probably have to go in and make a music folder for each one of those classes. If you need to sign into those classes individually, as long as you have access to them as a teacher and they come up in your teacher settings, you should be able to go in, whether you're a teacher or co-teacher, you should be able to go in and create a music folder in each one of those, homeroom classes. This next one, it says, if you change the settings from see each other's work to not, it says everyone will be signed out. That's a good point. Will they need a new code? It seems like that would be hard to get everyone back in. I'm going to have to speak honestly to my privilege again. When I have done this in the past, because it does come automatically as turned on and then they have to be turned off. So that when my school, because each student has a Google login, they sign in with their username and password. My school, again, because we've had this set up for years, has not had to do anything with the home codes or the new codes. So if you have home codes, I would suggest, and you're worried about everyone signing out, I would suggest keeping it on and just, you're going to have to make sure that all of your comments are very nice to each other, that you are monitoring those closely, and also to make sure that all of your assignments that you do are going to be, each child is going to feel comfortable doing them, if that makes sense. So a child playing their recorder by themselves, not every child is going to feel comfortable posting that video if they know that so-and-so from their class can see that. But if you have them, just do an audio recording of singing with their family, that they might feel a little bit more comfortable with. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep going here. I love that everyone's able to help each other out in the chat with, everyone's different experiences. Because again, I fully acknowledge mine has been very easy for me. So please keep helping each other out. All right, so now that we know what our settings are, we're gonna go ahead and dive into how best to use the platform. This is just going to be a tutorial of the different, how the Seesaw platform works. So posting items for your students just has to do with that green plus that you see on their journal page. So as soon as you log in, you should see that green plus on the upper right-hand corner of Seesaw. And when you click on that add button, it gets you to each one of these 6 different options. The title is linked to the Seesaw help page from their website that explains each one of these tools in detail. And I'm going to explain each one of them really quick as well. I'm going to go in kind of a triangle pattern. So starting with the photo, that is just using the camera in their device, taking a photo. So taking a selfie. If they have an iPad, they can turn the camera around to take a picture of something else. The same thing for the video. It would just be, a video recording, anything they have, using the camera in their device. And then the note, which is the center in the bottom row, that is a very simple ability to type in a quick, message to students. It shows up looking like a piece of notebook paper, and it's just quick, just text. You can copy and paste text into there. Very simple, straightforward, those 3, photo, video, and note. The other 3 then, those are the ones that are a bit more elaborate that we're going to be diving deeper into for each one of these things. So upload is where you would upload a file or an existing photo or any sort of multimedia file. You can also connect to your Google Drive through there if you would like. We'll get into that a little bit later. Link, that is where you can post anything that you just want the students to go to a specific website. Maybe you want your students to explore something on Classics for Kids. You can post the direct link into there and it will show up as an image for them to go to. And then drawing. Drawing is the newer tool to Seesaw that just came out this year, and it has a lot of fun features. This slide might look overwhelming to you, but all of them are very straightforward. So drawing basically lets students upload a photo or take a photo, and then they can annotate on there. Or they can just annotate or type anything they would like from an assignment you place and a drawing that you place up there. So if I can make sure I keep all of my slides up, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate for you now what the drawing tool looks like. So give me just 1 second here. I do have a sample class that we're going to be using today. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing my Seesaw page now. If you can go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the example music class. Great, thank you. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and just do an example of what the drawing is. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on my add button. And as a teacher, you have these 3 options. Your students only have the first one of post-student work. We're going to get into these 2 a little bit later. So with post-student work, I'm going to go ahead and click on drawing. And I'm just going to make a welcome message for my kids. So I'm going to drag my Bitmoji into there. And you can take any image, any photo. And I just had that on my desktop and dragged it into there. You can also do camera and upload. I'll show it to you this way as well. And then I just clicked on the picture I wanted to have. So now there's 2 of me. That's not scary. Okay. And then, so I have my photo, and then I'm going to get a little fancy. I'm going to click on the 3 dots and click on the shapes. And they have a bunch of fun shapes here. They do have a treble and bass clef shape as well. They do not have notes, which as soon as this feature came out, I know myself and a couple other music teachers on Twitter went on and asked if they could please put notes in. And I think it will be here soon, but Seesaw is an ever-evolving website and platform.
If I could jump in, Katie, you can make notes, though, using the circle and the line tools.
Very true. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. So if I just use the circle, or another thing that my kids like to do as a hack is so this was a circle shape that I added. What my kids will do sometimes is they will click on the pen, which is down here, and they will change the pen size to the biggest pen. So they use that, and then they make it smaller to make, I'm going to attempt, it's harder to draw on the trackpad than your iPad, but so now they made a pair of 1/8 notes. So depending on what you need and what you're doing for your kids. We'll go ahead and finish Brianna's quarter note here. I don't know if she wanted a quarter note, but that's what we're getting. Using this as a teacher, this is a little bit more advanced, but you know, it's a way for you to make the skills that you want. Also, what I typically do is I will just Google image or have saved a bunch of quarter notes, 1/8 notes, whatever rhythms units I'm working on, and I will just as photos drop those into here too. And we're gonna go through that as an example later. So I have my picture of me. This is my morning message to my kids. I have some music notes in there. I have a little thought word bubble shape, and I say, hello, Hornets, because that's our school mascot. Miss you a lot. Okay, and that's all you need to do if you have a morning message or anything you'd like. So that's some of the different options with the drawing feature, just to get us started. I'm going to click on the green check up here in the upper right corner. The green check is your best friend. That's what you want to make sure you do. When I'm posting this, I want to make sure I'm adding it to all students in my class. If you want to post a specific message, then you can just click, let's say I just want to send this to Lin-Manuel Miranda, I can just click on his name and it will just go to his journal page. So I select all students and I click my green check, and then that is on the journal page for all of my students to see. So that's an example, just a quick example of what the drawing tool is. I have had a lot of people ask me, along with the drawing tool, how to share Google Drive files so the students can edit them. And we're gonna hop into that. Let me just, Brianna, do we have anything specific about just the drawing tools that we know we won't get to later?
No, there's some other questions going on in the chat that I'm doing my best to answer, but nothing regarding drawing.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. So a lot of people have been asking about sharing with Google Drive files so that students can edit. The biggest thing with this is that if you want the students to edit on the Google Drive, it will not work if you use the upload feature. So as an example, I'm gonna go ahead and open my drive. So we have here a copy of the instrument family sort. If I were to upload that as an upload, it is just going to show up as an image. It is not, and 1 sec. It is not going to come in as an editable device. So, in order to do so, got an error, okay. In order to do that, you need to make sure you're uploading it as a link. So, right here. So if I click add and I click post student work, I'm gonna go ahead and click on the link. And then I'm gonna take the item from my Google Drive. I'm going to go ahead and get the shareable link, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it just right in there. Another really important hack to know is that if you have one thing that you want students to be able to edit, but you don't want them to do many copies of, you can turn in the auto copy feature. And that I do have linked in the hyperdoc. And I don't remember the specifics to it right now, so I don't want to show you the wrong thing, but that is in there. So it will show them an example of what they want to do, and you just go ahead and click all your students. Sometimes you will get an error message from Seesaw saying, it looks like this is a Google Drive link. Are you sure you don't want to upload it through Google Drive? And the answer is no, continue as link. Because then when I go to this, it's going to open in my students' Google Drive. And then they can do the instrument family sort and then upload it to to where I want them to post it, either on their journal page or within the settings or within the activity. So that is a quick demonstration with the Google, how best to use Google. So, alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and Brianna, what screen of mine are you seeing right now?
We see the one that says audio, video and audio files.
Okay, great. Okay, so another question I got a lot was video and audio files and how to upload those. Does Seesaw support those, etc.? As music teachers, obviously that's very important. So Seesaw does support MP4 files and MOV files. So that's your audio and your movie files. They do support some other more obscure ones, and the full link is in the title of this slide. If your media is not in these formats, what I personally do is I make a copy of my original file, and then I rename it so the ending will upload. So an example is that I have, let's say I want to send Sasha home to my students for them to do with their families, with their younger siblings, with their older siblings. Everyone in my school's done Sasha. Everyone knows Sasha, the folk dance. Brianna, can you see my Seesaw page right now?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. So all I did was on my home screen, I found the original file for my Sasha track, and then I'm just going to post, and then I duplicated it on my home screen and just renamed the ending to .mp4. I'm going to drag that in. Hopefully you can see. I'm dragging that in right now, and it will take the time to upload. And then it should, once it's done thinking, it will go ahead and it will play for your students that way. Typically when you do this, it doesn't really have any sort of description, so I like to put the caption in, Sasha music. And then you click your green check and send it to all your kids, and that is there for them now to listen to and for them to use at home. It does show up as a blank white screen, but the audio still comes through. So that is my suggestion and hack for sending home your video and your audio files. Video sites like YouTube, SafeShare, and ViewPure will work with Seesaw. And again, on that slide, the full list of supported apps is posted. And those 3 were ones I got questions about, and those 3 are all listed on the apps. All you have to do for that is just copy and paste the link into the link share option, just like we did with the Google, Slides. So really quick example. Let me find, let's say I want them to do Fiasco next, or the Hurry Scurry. So I would just find that video for them, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy that link to YouTube right up in the URL. And then I'm going to add post student work, link, and paste. And now that will work directly for them. It will have them open in YouTube. You will want to double check or kind of just know what your students, what settings and what filters your district has on your students' iPads. I know for myself, I have to make sure I approve all of these videos. This blue bar comes up with the filter that we use. So that is something I have to do, but now all my students have the YouTube link for the video of the Hurry Scurry. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and pause for any questions about anything we just went over there. Brianna, anything sticking out to you?
So there, one big one about
with anything we just went over in regards to kind of how the basics of how to use Seesaw.
So there was one, well, first of all, some are asking if the chat can be shared, and I think we as hosts have the ability to do that, so we will make sure to save it and send it out with the recording as well, because there are answers to questions in the chat as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes, we'll be sure to do that.
The one big question had to do with sharing recordings on Seesaw. Are there copyright implications? And the way I understand it is that it's not public. It's like Seesaw is not public. It's only shared within the class.
Correct.
And so it's considered to be the same as if you were playing the recording for your students in your classroom. Especially during this time of remote learning during the quarantine, a lot of publishers have relaxed those copyright rules. So it should not be a problem.
Yes, yes. Yes, we will for sure. Yes, I found the save chat feature. Thank you, Kathy. And yes, that has always been my understanding as well. If you would think of it this way, when classroom teachers are doing a read aloud, you know, with Wayside School, or they have copies of Wayside School in their class for their students to use, that's staying within the classroom. This is just an online classroom, so it's not made public. So that is what works for, that has been my understanding of it as well. Alrighty, so with that, we're gonna go ahead and jump into activities. So we just went over how to post things in the, how to post things in Seesaw, and different ways you can utilize different types of files and mediums and different ways to share information to your students. Activities is a really great way to keep their work and their assignments organized for you, and to keep everything just in one place. The activity library is a gem of a resource that has a lot of pre-made assignments already set out for you. So if you have no idea where to start with e-learning, the activity library is going to give you an activity that you can send out with your students tomorrow. So in the activities tab, it is not the forefront of what you see in Seesaw. The journal page is the front of what you see. And then the activities tab is the one right next to it. And it's the light bulb that you see. As a teacher, you click on your green plus and you can click on assign activities. And that is where it will take you with the activities. The activity library is where all of the activities you create will be housed. So think of this as your digital filing cabinet for Seesaw specifically. And each of your assignments are a different folder. So when you click on the green plus, it will take you to where it says My Library and then Create New Activity. And if you click on that plus, then it will take you to, oh, I got out of order here, a way to, and that we will walk through that as a group in a little bit. And that's how you can create your own activities. But along with that, there is also the activity library where other people can share out activities they have made and they want to share with other music educators anywhere. So just by searching the word music in the activity library, there are currently, or at least when I screenshotted this yesterday, 1,024 different activities you can use that are available for you to send out to your students tomorrow, even today, after this live stream is done, if you'd like. So you can kind of see the examples on there, hopefully. Everything that's labeled music isn't necessarily for music. So like the one in the upper right corner of the screenshot says sort by color. That is just an ambassador or someone for Seesaw who created something and checked all of the columns, all of the subject areas. There's this one that says respond to a question. That's a very generic thing that Seesaw created as kind of a template to get you started. But if you look at the second row, there's things about the string family. There is rhythm activity, Lucy Lockett, label the parts of the staff. There's even 5 Little Monkeys, but please, let's all agree to stop using 5 Little Monkeys. And if you're not sure why I'm asking that, please just Google it. But lots of different things. Get Moving is a great example as well. So the activity library has lots of different things for you, and there's something you can use tomorrow. I promise you. You're going to have to dig through it, but you will find something. When you are creating activity, and we are going to do that live, I'm going to take you through the steps of me creating an activity together. Using the shortcuts is going to be your new best friend. So when you use the shortcuts, you're typing a shortcut into the directions, and the icon that the student needs to use will appear within the text for the directions. This is the official shortcuts document from the Seesaw website. So if you click on this, it will take you directly to the shortcuts page. And using this really will help maximize your students' success. And then, as I said before, always, always, always make sure your students hit the green check 2 times to submit their work. Along with that, you do want to make sure you're approving your students' work too. So we're, again, just kind of going through how this works, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you some examples as well. So within our example music class, which I have up right now, you'll see at the very bottom here, I have 2 unapproved posts. So I can go ahead and click review, and then I can see what my students have done. This one I'm going to come back to in a little bit, but first, this is a journal post from Julie Andrews. I signed it on my other device as a student and within the class, and that's just a picture of my cat, and it says sorry for any noise I make during the webinar, Mom. I think she's taking her afternoon nap, but that's just an example of a journal post. So I click, it has 3 options: approve, send back, or delete. Most things you'll want to approve. A great example of using send back would be if your student is in your own journal, and they have a separate journal for music and a separate journal for your classroom teacher. Many, many, many times I will get students words their way sorts, or their math homework, or their picture of their science experiment. And the great thing about the send back, this has been new since this school year, all you'd have to do is click that button and it would go away and it'd be sent back to the student and they'd realize, oops, I posted that in the wrong class. But we'll go ahead and approve that. And then you can see right now it says I'm looking at my unapproved items. And again, I'm going to come back to this other one in a moment. But just on my journal page, then because I posted that yesterday, it shows up as being posted on the date it was submitted. So that is how students can post to their journal page. And as the teacher, you see the class journal and you're seeing everyone's work. If your students can see everyone's work, this is what they're viewing as well. So that's just a quick example of activities and how to approve items along with the plus sign for just posting the journal page. So checking in, any questions about anything I just said? We are going to again explain, I'm going to go through a model of how to use an activity. Anything big sticking out, Brianna, in regards to just setting up an activity? Or
not activities, but back to posting MP3s. Those with window devices, it seems it's not as simple as just changing the end of the file extension.
Okay.
So what I was trying to test, but my computer was being really slow, is linking it to or from your Google Drive and making sure you've turned on the sharing permissions. That would probably get around that.
Yes, that is what I would suggest as well. So within, and you know what, I actually have, Brianna, can you see my Google Drive right now?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see here, and this is actually how I normally do things, because when I'm in my classroom, I put everything on Google Slides, so I link everything through Google Slides that way too. I would just go to this, put the file into my Google Drive, and then maybe have one folder where you know that's all your classroom music. And then you're going to click on the 3 dots up here, and you are going to click share, and you're going to copy link. And then within Seesaw, you're just going to add it again, post student work, and the link, and paste right into there. And that will take the students to your Google Drive, but it will just pop up as just that file, just that media file. So if I click on this, it's going to open up a new tab, or it will open up within their iPads, and they're just seeing the file. They're not anywhere within my Google Drive. So that would be my suggestion. Again, I don't have experience using Seesaw with a Windows device, so my apologies on that. I'm sure if you search either in Google or in the music teacher's Seesaw page, I'm sure you can find a lot of great suggestions there. So
one more about sharing activities that you've created to the library for other people to find.
That's a great question. And right now, because of the pandemic and Seesaw doing their best to keep up with everything, you can share to the activity library, but nothing is getting approved at this time. They put a pause on going through things. There is a way, though, that you can everything that I showed you, the 1024 activities, those were everything that was already in the activity library. So those are available to you. Everything I show you today, I have linked, and there is a way that you can save the link to share and send to your friends or to send to your coworkers. And we can get into that in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and talk about content-specific things finally. Yay, we're past the point of being an IT person and just talking about how to use Seesaw, how to use this platform best for music. So, a quick review. Again, our Seesaw music lessons are focused tasks, matching your students' tech ability level and easy for you to respond to. Easy for you to make a quick comment saying, that was great, Billy. You know, Alame, I loved the fact that you added your sister into that activity, things like that. And again, our goal is to keep our kids doing their music making and not have an excessive amount of extra work for yourself. So the one thing I will say for this, going back to my recorder example, if you have your kids continuing to do recorder karate, you're going to be listening to 100 recordings, you know, per week. And I'm saying that because I just went through that for myself. I very much wanted my kids to just keep going business as usual. And then we were halfway through recorder karate when I realized that it was a lot of work for me and they were still very squeaky because I was not there to help them. But we got through it and they're done. Hooray. So making sure they're short and purposeful and reflective so that you're not having to listen to, you know, many, many hours of squeaky recorders or what have you. So the main thing, if you take away anything from today, the one thing I would hope you would take away is that making sure you're scaffolding your music assignments to your students' ability levels, to their tech ability levels, but still using musical learning. It's going to be best, as you are thinking of your approach for e-learning, to first think about what you want your learning objective to be, what you want the short exercise to be that you want them to focus on, and then think about how you're going to use Seesaw for your kids to show their engagement. So there are three main categories we can break this down into. Just the kids simply sharing their activities, the students creating something, and them reflecting and responding. So for this example, we're going to pretend that your learning objective is dynamics. Let's say it's second grade. We're in April, I'm pretty sure. I'm into week 4 of quarantine. So it's been going a long time in week 4 of e-learning. So let's say we're focusing on dynamics. Beginning level, just the students simply sharing their work would be, and I got this example from Twitter. I could not find where it was from, so my apologies for that. But I saw a great post of someone saying they had their students find something that was loud and something that was soft or quiet. So an example of something loud would be, you know, their pots and pans and a wooden spoon, and something that is soft would be their pillow, you know, something very simple, easy, attainable like that. And they just have to post 2 pictures, one of their loud picture and one of their quiet picture. So that would be an example of just them simply sharing their work. The next step then would be to have your kids create something with their pictures. So you would have your kids post one picture of many items. Okay, so one picture of a variety of different dynamic markings, and they could use either the label button to type or the drawing tools to write which ones are forte and which ones are piano, and they would annotate right on that photo. So that would be kind of a next step. They're not just pointing their device and clicking. It's point, click, and draw, and annotate, however they want to do. So that would be the creating step. That would be a little bit more advanced. The final step, the final option for that scaffold of technology would be doing all of the things in level 2, plus having the students press the microphone button to record the examples of their items making the forte and piano sounds. So if they had a salt shaker, and they had that as their piano. They'd press the microphone, they'd say, "Hi, Miss Nuff, here are my forte and piano sounds. Here's my forte, bang, bang, bang on the lid. Here's my piano, shake, shake, shake. Hope you enjoyed it. I miss you. Bye." And then they would press the microphone and they'd be done. So that would be multiple steps. You're asking them to do multiple things with technology. It is a more invested way that they are showing their learning, and, you know, diving deeper into their questioning and response styles. But that would be an option for you too. Again, you know your kids best. You know what you're going to be able to effectively do the best, and help facilitate the best. So it, depending on how long this is going for you, if you've been in quarantine e-learning for 4 weeks like I have, you might be at step 2 or 3 if you've been experimenting with Seesaw with your kids. If you are just starting and it's your first day of e-learning, start with simply sharing. Especially if you are absolutely positively brand new to Seesaw. I cannot recommend enough to follow this model. Your students are very intuitive. This technology comes very organically to them. And I've had my kids teach me so many things over the years. There's a lot of ways that they can customize and personalize their text boxes and change their colors and change the font. We're not going to get into all that today. I don't want to overwhelm you, but if they figure it out, great for them. So at this point, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to walk through creating 2 activities. So the first one is having movable items and you can use this for composition, for sorting, etc. And then the second thing is going to be with the multimedia instructions and examples, kind of how to place everything in one spot to maximize activities. This would be more for your older students. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. So when you go to create a new activity, I just want to show you this with the annotations first. This is what pops up. So you have you type in your title and you type in your instructions, and remember to use the shortcuts for the icons. And then you have these different options below as well. The thing we're going to be focusing on, and that is going to be best for you, is the add template for student response. So clicking on that and creating your templates and using your templates, that is going to be where you have one worksheet and you're giving it to the whole class. And then each child is returning their items individually. So think of the templates as creating your worksheet. Then the second thing we'll get into is the adding multimedia instructions. So we're going to go ahead and go back to my Seesaw class, and we're going to go ahead and walk through this together. So I'm going to click on my add button, and I'm going to click assign activity. Now, when I'm creating a new activity, you want to click on it's kind of hidden, but it's in the blue plus right on this side. And that gives me to the screen I just showed you. So we're going to title this Recorder Sorting. Okay. I always tell my students to read all the directions before they begin. Because sometimes if they go ahead and click the green plus, and they're on track with that, they will forget to read the rest of the directions. Or excuse me, the add button. Sort the finger patterns. I cannot talk and type at the same time. My apologies. Brianna, do you want to jump in and start sharing anything?
There are just a few. So anybody who is interested in those Seesaw shortcuts, Katie did put them in the slides, which we shared, but if you just Google Seesaw shortcuts, you'll come up with a list of them, and they make everything so much clearer. So if you look at how Katie has typed in : add : on number 1, when we type that on our end, what the kids will see is the green button that says add response right there in that spot. And it just makes everything so much clearer. But they're really easy to find with a quick Google search.
Yes.
And Louise, your question about the journal. So that's just, it's kind of like a folder, one big folder of everything that the kids have posted on your Seesaw class. So just on your main, when you log into Seesaw and look at the class, over on the right hand side, you have the name of the class, and then it says journal, activities, inbox, and the journal is just all of the posts in reverse chronological order that the kids have posted.
Yes, yes. And yes, in regards to archiving, and we will get there in a second, the kids see their own journal. They could see everyone else's. That again depends on your settings. Archiving is only recommended after every single student completes the activity. And at this point in life, not every kid is going to complete the activity. So maybe putting the date in the activity would be helpful, just to help the kids know what is working for them. Okay, so I typed in all of my directions. I'm now going to add a template for the students to respond to. I'm going to create my worksheet. And the best way to do this always is with the drawing. So the kids are going to have their own copy of this file that they need to annotate for themselves. So the next thing I'm going to do is I would upload, and mine was not working earlier from my Google Drive, but you would upload all of the photos. So I'm just gonna need a quick workaround here. Sorry, give me 1 second. From your computer or your Google Drive, wherever it is, to the activities. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drag in my BANG pictures. These are JPEG images. You can have multiple images in one. So these are going to be cards that the students have to match together. And so I'm going to put them right here, and then they would have the finger patterns as another card option that they would have as well. So that then would be, and give me just 1 second, that would be another that would be an example of a sort thing that you could do using rhythm notes, either a full rhythm card or just the notes by themselves. That is another option for you. I did get the question, and this is a very common question that I see in the Seesaw for music teachers. If you can have one item and then have it duplicate and clone on its own, like most people are used to or familiar with interactive whiteboards. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So in order to have multiple items of the same card, you would just have to, you can have it as an option of clicking the 3 dots and duplicate, but that is a lot for your students, or they might delete it accidentally. But that is a good hack. That is a good way around it. You would just want to put a note in there then for them to not accidentally delete one of the options. So I have these up here. This would be my template that the kids would have to match everything with. Yes, I do recognize that both letters are on both things, but I do start recorders in 3rd grade, and I have a very heavy EL population, so we'll say this was the extension activity for some of those kids. And let's say I want to go ahead and help them out a little bit more of where to place these items, because kids are used to a lot of hand holding these days, and we want them to be successful. So I would probably label that, have them let's start with B. So they can put B right here, and then I would continue that for A and for G. And that is how, and I'm gonna go ahead and change the color right here, just to help them differentiate. I'm not gonna have it match too closely because I don't wanna make this too easy for them. Um, and then G. So this is a quick example of something I would use for a matching style activity for students. And again, using this and just even the idea of having these boxes up for for composition, for notes and rhythms and everything, is very simple as well. So if we were pretending that this was a clapping pattern of ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, I could put that in this box. Ooh, that is something to note as well. Just like if you've used Google's drawings before, you do want to make sure your kind of landing pad where you're having kids go is on the bottom of your drawings and everything. So I'm going to go order. And again, all of the settings in Seesaw pretty much are your 3 dots. That's kind of your go-to for that. So let's pretend this was ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. And now I created a composition. So again, there's many options for just sorting and placing things together. It is just going to be more picture-based. So if I click, so my template is made, I'm gonna go ahead and click the green check. If I want to, I can make sure that I click the 3 dots and lock this item because this is not what I want the kids to move. I want them to move the different cards. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the green check. And now my worksheet is created. So the students have the worksheet then that they are going to use for this activity. So after I've done all of this, I'm going to click Save. And this is now in my activity library. This is in my personal activity library. This is in my personal filing folder. So this is not assigned to my students yet. In order to do that, I need to make sure I click Assign. And then I'm going to choose the class that I want it to go to. So we're going to go to Example Music Class, and we're going to assign to one class. And now that is there for Julie Andrews and Lin-Manuel Miranda to work on. If you are wanting to share this activity with your coworkers, this is a next level skill. So you would click on the 3 dots in the lower right corner. Again, that's the menu for everything. And you would click Share Activity. And you can either select the teachers to email. That, I believe this option only pops up if you're using Seesaw for Schools. The main thing that I do believe should pop up for everyone there is Get Activity Link. You would just copy that and then paste it into an email. So I do see our chat is getting very excited. Anything that, Brianna, from just that first example that we want to go through?
Just if you could show adding voice instructions to this activity.
Ooh, absolutely, yes. So voice instructions are, and I see Stephanie posted that. Yes, it is very important and very helpful for your ELL and your students who have special needs. That is something I only started realizing and like thinking, remembering to do during remote learning, because normally I know those kids and I can go up to them and help them and re-explain things, but I can't do that here. So great suggestion. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and click my 3 dots and edit activity. And right here, you'll see it says add voice instruction. So I'm not sure if it will let me do this while I'm zooming. So you click that and you click the button. Read all the directions before you begin. Click on the Add button. Click on the Move button to match the finger pattern cards to the treble clef cards. Press the green check 2 times to submit your work. Have fun! And now that audio file is there for my students to listen to if they are having trouble reading. And even with your littles, if your littles can't read yet, I don't have a lot of background in teaching K1-2 levels. So that is something I forget about. So now this is audio files here. Read all the directions. And you can hear me saying the directions, and then you just click save. And that is there. Now it says play instructions. So yeah, that is an option for that. Audio directions is a really, really great tool. So that is my example of doing a sorting matching activity. The next thing we are going to demonstrate is the multimedia instructions. And this is the way kind of to maximize your time with Seesaw and kind of dump as much information as you want into one place. So my example with this, again, I have recorders on the brain, is I'm going to show you how I built one of my recorder karate tools for assignments for my students. So I'm going to go back to Seesaw, and no, we're even going to go back to the class. We're going to go back to the beginning. You can see now in the activities tab, this assignment is here for my students, and they would just have to click on, the add response. As a teacher, you get this point of view. They should only see their own option, their own name, and then they would edit the activity like this. Great. And we know Julie Andrews is smart. We're gonna make her have a correct assignment. So Julie Andrews would do this and then clicks her green check. And now we can see her work is done. This is back in the journal page, and this is just Julie's journal page. And the class journal, it's also posted there. If we go to activities, you can see as the teacher that Julie Andrews replied, but Lin-Manuel Miranda has not replied yet. So that's a great way for you just to be able to see who's done their work and who has not. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and now show how to use the multimedia instructions. So, we're gonna go ahead and click on the blue add button, and we're going to do recorder karate down at the station. Okay. And we're gonna read all the directions. Brianna, do you want to hop in here? Anything to add as I type?
Yes, so there was a question about in the co-teacher setting, if the classroom teacher is just approving everything and then you have to go in to find it later to look at it. Mm-hmm. And if it's not being attached to the folders, it may be a settings issue. So you would tap on the wrench and find the folders area in the settings, and you want to make sure that students and teachers can attach work to folders. That has to be enabled. And that setting is not default. The default is only teachers would be able to do it. So you have to make sure you tap students and teachers. But yeah, you might just be in a situation where you have to tap on the exact activity to see the submissions, if the kids aren't remembering to tap the music folder for that. And then Katie, I did just want to remind you that it's 5:25.
Yes, thank you. I was noticing that too. Make the mic. Alrighty, so with this activity, we are going to use both a template and a multimedia instruction. So for the multimedia instruction, I'm going to go ahead and add a video of myself using the flipped classroom model of going through the recipe for success for my students. So I have this saved as a video file. You could go ahead and make this video live if you wanted to, or if it's a longer video, I would make it a Google Drive link and upload it that way. This video setting is limited to 5 minutes. So that's good for yourself to know and for the kids as well. They can only send you up to 5 minutes, which again, when you have hundreds of students, would be a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in, the video file in. It is a little bit bigger of a file, so hopefully it will cooperate. And basically what I had my students do is they're going to watch the video first of me taking them through the recipe for success. And then they are going to go ahead and they will see the sheet music and they will play it with using the audio recording feature. So that is a really great, powerful tool to use. The multimedia instructions is something that Brianna actually introduced me to, either right before or right when quarantine started, and it is a really, really great, awesome skill for the students to be able to use. Okay, and this is taking a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and find the old activity, and I'll edit it to show you live what we're going through. And again, you can upload anything that's in the plus button. You can upload anything for the, oh, it's not in recorders, for the multimedia instructions, but that really is the best way to use, to kind of put everything all in one spot for your students. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to assign this to the example music class. And then, so here's the video that my students will be using, and then I added this template for them. So this was a lot of information to give them, but here's their sheet music, here's my recorder rules that they're used to seeing in my classroom, and then all they're going to do is they're going to press on the microphone and play, and then I can hear it as an audio recording back. So that's a really great way to maximize the activities and to use lots of music engagement. Again, I did this with 4th grade. I would not suggest doing something like this necessarily with 2nd grade. With 2nd grade, maybe you have them watch a video and then they dance along to the video. And they just give you an emoji, thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down, how much they enjoyed that activity. So that would be my suggestion for that. But using this in the way that's going to be best for you is what's most important. So a lot of people were asking us about choice boards. Cherie Herring and, oh, I'm blanking on the name. I think it was Amy Burns, music tech teacher. I hope that's the right person, I'm sorry. They had a really great webinar last week about making choice boards. And Seesaw also had this morning a webinar about posting choice boards. I was not able to attend it because Brianna but Brianna was. I was Zooming with my choir. So Brianna, I'm going to let you go ahead and explain the highlights from that.
Yes, so it was a great webinar, and Seesaw posts all of their webinars and tutorials to YouTube within a day. So sometime tomorrow, if you check YouTube and look for choice boards, Seesaw, it should pop up. It was really very informative for anybody who wants to try this. So the basics are these 4 steps. You're going to create the actual choice board in Google Slides, and that app will allow you to embed multiple links if you want to. You embed all your links and set up sharing on the Google Slides so that anyone with the link can view. You want to make sure that you save it that way so that the kids don't have to have a Google account in order to see it. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to add it into the Seesaw activity as the multimedia instructions or example, which is what Katie was just showing you. And then you can use the template for your student responses. So Katie, if you advance to the next one.
Yes.
So here's just a quick example of a choice board I put together today. Whoops, there
Sorry.
we go. For my kids to do next week. So they're going to learn about Beethoven. And in this first, they're going to choose 2 activities. 3 of these are links to videos from YouTube where the YouTube videos can actually be embedded straight into the Google slide. You just go
awesome.
insert video and copy and paste the YouTube link, and it's right there embedded, and they can pop it up to full screen. And then you're able to just give little instructions of what they should do while they're watching. And number 4 is Chrome Music Lab, which if you don't know that website, it's fabulous. And the kids can do a lot of music creation through that. And this is also that number 4, the entire thing is a link to the website for them. So all of these are links embedded right in. So all of this I made in Google Slides, and then I just embedded it into the Seesaw activity as the multimedia example. And I'm not going to go through all the steps on how to do that because I'm just going to refer you to the Seesaw webinar because it was really thorough and great. And it should be posted on YouTube sometime within the next 24 hours. If you can advance one more.
Yes.
Yeah, so this on this same screen Katie was showing you before, the choice board goes in your multimedia instructions, and then your student template goes down at the bottom.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Brianna. Alrighty, so it has been about an hour and a half. We're happy to be here for maybe about another 15 minutes because I did promise you doing a live demonstration. So before we get to that, I will just show you the final couple things in the slides that I did see Brianna share out earlier. All of the activities that I had in my example class, which I will show you the images for that really quick, are linked right there. And that was with the fancy, share activity link. I will put the Greenbelt example there in a little bit, along with the recorder sorting. Those just obviously were not created yet. But there is a template example of if you just want your students to give you a video response of if you need them to make something on the treble clef staff, I made each of those template examples. This is something I did with my choirs, I think 2 weeks ago that I shared with Brianna and our other coworker who does choir. This was something we did for choir specific, but you could do it with any grade, any ability level. Is the social distance sing. And I had my students fill out the template saying, and you could edit this as you need it. It's a Seesaw template. So what was your favorite choir song and why? Who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters. So their grandma, their aunt, their uncle, who they haven't gotten to see in a while. What was their favorite song and why? And then after participating in the social distancing, I feel blank. And this was really eye-opening. A lot of my kids said they felt happier, because they talked to someone they hadn't heard from in a while. Some of my kids said they felt sad because they realized that they hadn't seen their friends in a long time. And it's a really great way to, check in on your kids that you care about and, just post them back a message saying, it's okay that, you're sad you can't see them. I'm sad I can't see my family either, but we're doing this together. We're helping each other out. It's the best thing for everyone. And if your parents are connected, it's a really great way for them to check in too. As I said before, we are in week 4 of quarantine. We had our spring break in there as well. So here in Illinois and Chicagoland, we're in 5 weeks total. And we had a conference with our social worker today, a staff meeting earlier. And our social worker said that a lot of the kids now are just really, at week 4 of quarantine, just really feeling sad and hurt and lonely and missing their routine. So this is a really great way. That is posted in the link as well. Along with some more complex tech-wise, but simple activities for you. So this was having the students explore AI Duet, which is a free website where you play a note, the computer plays back to you. It's kind of similar on the same plane of Chrome Music Lab. But just send the kids to the website, have them play around, and then have them give you a response. And the response just looks like this. What were some things you noticed? Tell me 3 emojis. I also did, you know, like I said, it's okay if you want to do videos. I had them watch a TED Ed video and then give me a response. This is by Amy Burns. It was shared in the community activities file, just sorting, like matching the names to the brass instruments. So drag the trombone, you know, everything like that. So all of these links are posted right here. So you just click on these names and that is there. Also, I didn't get the chance to share it, but the 2nd grade musical scavenger hunt, I just saw on my teacher Twitter account this morning, and it was phenomenal. So definitely a next level activity creation, but there's that. This is your link. I would say this is your slide. This is your mecca for everything to help you. So as I mentioned before, Seesaw has a lot of great YouTube tutorials and videos for how to set things up. And each one of those are the YouTube playlists that are linked. There's also the Staying Connected webinar by those 4 music teacher bloggers was a really great way if you're feeling overwhelmed and wanting to get specific help or more general help about e-learning and remote learning in general. And then Amy Burns again, when you have to teach elementary music from home. That was great. And then music and digital portfolios in Seesaw, that's a specific Seesaw webinar that, as Brianna mentioned, was in the past. Again, help.seesaw.me is going to be your go-to place if you need to know how to do anything. That is the Seesaw help website where you can search different things. They are overwhelmed just like a lot of other tech places, but they are there to help you if it's something super specific, or using the search feature in the Seesaw for music teachers. So using right at the top, I took the screenshot from my phone today, right before we started, making sure if you have something specific, maybe Windows files. I know we had people who said they needed help converting their files if they're a PC user. So using the microphone will let you search things people have already posted. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I've seen that we've had a lot of people from all over the country and all over the world, which is crazy to me. Again, I am not a professional, you know, blogger. I am just in my 5th year music, being a music teacher. And I just, you know, wanted to be able to help people the best that I could. So reminder, you are a great teacher and you are doing your best. We will gladly open up the floor for any questions or anything else you want to have specifically explained. We will go back to that Q&A as I promised. I did just want to kind of wrap up because I talk a lot, as Brianna and all my friends know. I want to say a huge thank you to Brianna for moderating. I was like, oh, you know, it'll probably be 10, 15 people. And I did have 100 people fill out the registration form. So I'm sure
we're freaking out a little bit.
Yeah. So it blew up a lot more than we were expecting. And so I'm sure people will be looking forward to the rewatch that I will do my best to send out tomorrow morning at the latest. So here is where you can find us on Twitter, and that's my email. It's the email you had when you registered. And thank you so much. If you're going to hop off, that's totally fine. Be well, be healthy. Remember to take a deep breath and remember to keep it easy and simple for yourself. So with that, if anyone does have a specific question they would like demonstrated, if you want to use the raise hand feature in Zoom, that would probably be the best way to just kind of do a Q&A tutorial so we know what you need help with. If you don't need any help with anything specific, or you're just feeling overwhelmed and need to go for a walk, that's fine too. So, in the chat, it says, will you ever do a session on choir? Yes, Brianna and I both teach choir, and we love choir. If I was in Hamilton and you put a gun to my head and asked me to choose one or the other, I would choose choir. I know Brianna's the other way, and that's what makes us great partners and friends. So I do use choir with my kids. With remote learning, I'm going to be honest, I have been struggling with like what exactly to do. I basically, because I personally, honestly, I have been mourning, not getting to do our concerts and not getting to see my kids every day, because they are my favorite part of my day. So obviously in Illinois, our school is officially canceled through the 30th of April. We all suspect we will continue remote learning and everything will be canceled. So I have been having my kids just keep practicing their music. They are, now that we're in week 4, starting to question, be like, well, but Miss Nuff, are we going to have our concert? And I'm just telling them honestly, I don't know. We're going to have some sort of performance. Yes. So I have been basically having my students practice a song of their choice. I'm glad I can see Brianna's face now, because I'm remembering the other things we've been doing. The social distance sing that I explained, that was an activity one day. We see our choirs, Brianna and I, 2 days a week after school. So for you junior high kids who see your kids every day, I've run out of activities for you, but we do. So I've only had to do 2 choir lessons a week. So, and choir is a graded class for me. So we're still doing e-learning for choir. We have done, so we did the social distance sing. I had them teach one of our warm-ups to a stuffed animal or sibling or pet. Those were really fun videos to see. And then I had them last week when the weather was nice out here in Illinois. I had them go outside and write out the words to a song in chalk. And then, or if I have a lot of kids who live in apartments, so they could just draw on paper their words, and then they had to like make their own karaoke video with themselves, either hopping, walking along the words and singing, or just pointing if they were using the paper and marker option. So that, and practicing their songs and submitting recordings to me. I don't actually listen to all 5 minutes of the recordings. That's a thing too. You don't have to feel like a bad teacher if you just listen to the first 30 seconds and then give them a heart. So that is what I've been doing. And my other activity I've been doing with my kids is having Zoom sessions for them. That, of course, is going to depend on your district and what setup you are currently facing. But that's kind of been what I've been doing with choir. And the biggest thing when we do Zoom meetings is, just as we've done here, is to mute all of them. So I will start with a question of the day. Today's question of the day was, what's been your favorite quarantine snack? I've been baking a lot, so Miss Nuff's been making a cake. A lot of them said chips and Doritos. So just to give them a chance to talk with each other. And then I muted them all. I sang, I played my piano, and they were singing back. I can't hear them, but nothing about this time is normal or regular. So it's very strange, but they enjoy it. They get to appreciate singing and being together. So that's my long-winded answer for choir. Do you use a microphone for your piano? No, I have an electric keyboard in my condo, so I just turn the volume all the way up, and my roommate, who is working from home, just has to deal with it. But she is a musician. Has a musical background, so she understands. And she just lets me know. She works for HR, so she just lets me know if she has a call coming in. So I just turn the volume all the way up. If you have an acoustic, I don't know, Brianna.
I think your whatever device you're using to Zoom would pick up the piano in addition to your voice.
Yeah, I just play loud.
And
Um,
yeah, I've done some Zooms with my kids as well. And if you have them sing along with tracks, there is a way when you share your screen that you can share your computer audio so they can hear the track a little better as well if you are using those.
yes. Alrighty. To create live music video from home and choose.
Yeah. Ooh, that's rough. That's a rough
Yeah.
assignment from the principal. They don't realize what they were asking. Kathy.
Yeah, is that meaning, Kathy, you can go ahead and unmute your audio if you want. What exactly are they asking you to do? Or here, I think here, okay. So Kathy, I think your sound is on if you want to go ahead and share.
Just basically a video song that she was supposed to send out the lyrics to the staff members. They were going to sing and send back to her, and she's going to compress this audio file, video file, and put on something, you know, a la like the major symphonies were doing.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
if your principal is going to do that, she can be her guest. I would say just pick a song and send it to her and let it be her headache. But I would just make it clear I'm not doing that. Yeah, Brianna and I have had conversations about this. Brianna made one for her church with professional adult musicians, and I know my OCD type A ADD will not, trying to do a virtual choir with my 5th graders or my 4th graders will not end well for my personal sanity. So I did see, I don't know if it was on the Seesaw for Music or on the music online page, if you're a member of that too. In regards to students, someone said they were going to do just like a Zoom talent show where kids could take turns having their audio unmuted and just singing, performing. I think that will be my approach if we are definitely out for the rest of the year and e-learning for the rest of the year. That is what I will be doing. But yeah, it's if your principal wants to put that together on her own, like, more power to her. That is, if people want to do that and that's how they're going to feel better for themselves, awesome. For me, it's a no. So, but that's why each person has to customize this to themselves. So yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and save the chat file.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to save it too, just to make sure. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope you found something helpful. I hope you're not too overwhelmed, and, you know, be well, wash your hands, and good luck with your e-learning journey. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.